And joining us now for more on the new voting laws in Georgia and what comes next is the head of the New Georgia Project, Nse Ufot. Thank you so much for your time tonight. We really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
Now, you've called this bill, quote, the most dangerous anti-voting bill since Jim Crow, and your organization, which was founded by Stacey Abrams, we need to say, is part of a lawsuit already filed. Now, we've heard about some of the particulars already. Is there a specific part of this new legislation that you are worried about?
All of it, quite frankly. Everything from limiting the number of hours that people can early vote to limiting the times where people can drop off their ballots at drop boxes. There is provisions in the bill that overturn the will of the people, that allow the legislature to determine the final outcome of elections, down to criminalizing the work that we do. It's called line warming, where we provide voters with water and portable cell phone chargers and lawn chairs while they wait in 8, 9, sometimes 10-hour lines in order to exercise their freedom to vote.
Nse, we're going to talk about water in just a little bit. It's just amazing to me that in 2021 that has become controversial. We'll, again, talk about that in a moment. But a short time ago on ABC News Live, Republican Gabe Sterling from the Georgia Secretary of State's office joined our Terry Moran. I want you to listen to what he had to say.
Is this a bill I would have written the way I would have written it? Probably not. I wouldn't have taken the power away from my boss to be chairman of the state election board. That was a political payback because Donald Trump was upset with the outcome of the election. I get that. But it doesn't take away from the fact that there are good things in this bill that will help election administration, will help voters. Like I said, this will probably lower the rejection rate. The hyperbole around this is just crazed because they want to have the voter suppression narrative no matter what happens.
And so Nse, he's saying that, in essence, it's not exactly written the way he would have written it, but do you agree with Sterling that there is a silver lining in this bill? Is there anything redeemable about this bill, in your opinion?
I completely disagree with Gabe Sterling, and I find it interesting that he wasn't able to articulate one reason at all why we should be celebrating this anti-voting bill. And he can recognize and acknowledge that the far right wing of his party is retaliating against our Secretary of State because he refused to participate in the former president's criminal conspiracy to steal an election. But he won't take the additional step to acknowledge that this bill is in retaliation to the overwhelming participation that we saw from all Georgians in the 2020 election cycle. So I do not agree with him at all. It sounds like he is doing gymnastics to try to walk a fine line when he should just tell the truth and come out and say that this bill is trash and that it's designed to make it more difficult for people to vote. I'm not committed to a voter suppression narrative at all. We want people to be able to vote in the ways that they choose. We want our Secretary of State and our legislators to remove barriers to participation, not construct additional ones.
Now, you brought up earlier the compassion needed for people who were committed to standing in line for hours just to make sure their vote was counted. That's a very valid point. And Sterling had mentioned that while the optics of the law, making it illegal to hand out water to people in line, they look bad. It's in response to organizations effectively campaigning in line, handing out water bottles stamped with candidates' names. And that's illegal to campaign while people are in that line. So does that matter to you? Does he have a point?
He does not have a point because there are existing laws that prevent that type of electioneering. They have all of the tools that they need to punish campaigns or to hold campaigns accountable who do that type of work. And quite frankly, the groups who do this at scale are churches and synagogues and Boy Scout troops and Girl Scout troops and civil rights organizations like the New Georgia Project. And so, no, that also doesn't pass muster. Because, again, they currently have all the tools that they need in order to hold campaigns accountable who engage in that type of electioneering.
Well, accountability is certainly needed. It doesn't always happen, but it's, I think, something we all agree on, which is nice that there's something we can all say yes to. What comes next now? Stacey Abrams has called for the federal government to pass H.R. 1 to, in effect, roll back some of the rules here. If that does not happen, what, in your opinion, is next?
So, it has to happen. I think that we are not out of those woods yet, that while we're talking about Georgia, there are 42 additional state legislatures that are deliberating similar anti-voting bills. And so while we are going to court in Georgia to make sure that these laws, these anti-voting laws get overturned, that the much more efficient and much more effective way to stop this sort of return of Jim Crow era voting laws is to establish a federal standard for elections in all 50 states.
Nse Ufot, we really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. All eyes on Georgia right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.